Oh, you're good. Busy.
Mm-hmm.
I'll start here with
Yep.
a few swings that you've taken on right here for day one, just beginning with Ryan Lindgren, who's well known for a big left shot. Did he compete? But what value does he add here to this group?
Yeah, no, it was a situation where we've talked about it, I think, a lot about being stronger to play against in front of both nets. It's one of the reasons why we went after Marchment in the trade category, and then why we went after Lindgren in the free agency here. Just his physicality, his compete out there, helping our PK, which needs to get better this year for sure too. And then just you look at his track record of playing in big games, knowing what it takes to have success in the playoffs. Certainly excited to bring his culture to our organization.
How do you look at the left side that you have right now and managing any challenges that
Yep.
come with fitting those guys in certain spots?
Well, I think it's something that we're trying to do throughout our organization right now. You look at the forwards, you look at our defense, you look at our goaltending. We're trying to bring depth to our organization. We're trying to create competition in a lot of different positions there. We felt, just as we just talked about, what Ryan can bring to our group. We wanted to bring that into our lineup no matter what. So whether it's left or right, we wanted that element to our group. We have some defensemen who have played the left side, can also, with left shots, can also play the right side. We'll figure those things out as we move forward from that standpoint. But we really wanted to bring some competition. And the other aspect of it is, too, this year, it's something that you're going to hear quite a bit. With it being an Olympic year, the condensed schedule, you're going to have to utilize your depth a lot.
Do you foresee any kind, I know you're saying competition, do you foresee any kind of subsequent moves here to?
Right now, no. Like, we wanted to strengthen our defense core from the standpoint, so that's why we made the signing today. Look, we're going to continue to look at different things throughout the market, but there's nothing imminent from that standpoint.
Jason, I thought Mikey Esamont really stood out in his 20 games and also at the World Championships.
Yep.
How come you couldn't find $1.5 million under the seat cushions to bring him back?
Look, Mikey did a great job for us. We're excited that he has moved on to a different spot there. We wish him certainly all the best. He was a great Kraken. He brought a lot of energy to our group from that standpoint. And, it's just something that we continue to look at, right? We understand, especially you look at a week like today or this week, a lot of young kids that we're really excited about moving forward here. And we're trying to find the balance of making sure they're protected enough and that they're in opportunities to have success. But we also want to make sure some of our young kids can have a spot in the lineup from that perspective. And, we just didn't think it was a fit at the very end, but we're excited about with the group of forwards we have right now.
What is your approach to this week? Like, how do you watch it? Are you evaluating individual players? What are you trying to accomplish?
It's tough, but you're not trying to do the evaluation. You're just trying to help these kids out. Like, I think so many of these young players these days, you're evaluating them at all times. You're trying to make it more certainly of a development camp. Like, what can we help these kids to better prepare themselves for training camp, or whether they go back to their junior team or college team for next year? Is it exciting to see the development from year to year? Especially, I think the kids, a guy like Catton, right, who's been a part of our organization for a year, to see where he's gone from last development camp to now, that's fun and exciting, and see where that could go maybe in the fall. But especially for the kids who just got drafted, it's such a whirlwind for them, right? The stress of an entire season being evaluated, going to the combine, going through all those interviews, then going to the draft, the stress of the draft, the excitement, and then immediately coming right up to Seattle. This is a tough week for them, and you can just see them trying to figure out names and what's going on from that staff. But that's why we're focusing a lot on just trying to give them a couple things to improve on their game. But it's more of them get to know our organization, being a part of being in the building here, getting to know Seattle and the Pacific Northwest.
A couple of the guys that you brought aboard here in free agency today, as you're working with them, what are some of the things about the culture here, what they've seen as coming as a visitor to Seattle that maybe helped make that pitch for you a little bit easier?
No, I think it's just something that we continue to do as a pitch, is just the excitement in our building, right? Whether it's, you heard Lane talk about it in his press conference. You may not know everything about the Pacific Northwest, but you know the passion that our fans have in CPA. That's something that they truly understand about. And I think what we're trying to continue to talk to them about is just other areas in Seattle, outside of Seattle, like whether it's downtown Seattle, whether it's Bellevue, Kirkland, what we have for day trips. Those are the things that we're trying to get out to the community, the NHL community, to hopefully bring in more free agents from that standpoint.
You reunite with a goalie you won a couple Stanley Cups with, and Matt Murray. Where do you see him fitting into the team's goaltending situation?
It falls in the same realm that we talked about before of just adding competition, adding depth in an Olympic year. And, it's a scenario where we just felt that and made us stronger down the goaltending position. Matt has dealt with injuries. We feel he's healthy. We feel he's hungry to come in and compete for a position. He obviously has the pedigree of knowing what it takes to win a Stanley Cup. So excited to work with him. And then I think the other element too is he has a familiarity with our goaltending coach, Colin. Both are from Thunder Bay, from that area too. So that familiarity I think just makes the transition that much easier.
What are you feeling about Blake Fiddler, how he's been doing, and I guess the hockey pedigree that he comes from? How much do you think that's going to help?
Well, we were ecstatic to get him, certainly to be, is the reason why we moved up in the second round to grab hold of him. And there's just so much to like about him as a prospect. We love the size. We love, his skating ability, his reach out there. And then just in the brief couple days here, just his sort of hockey knowledge and willingness to improve. And I think that's something we've touched on a lot with a lot of these kids is like, you want them to have a drive, but you also want them to understand that this is literally just a starting point. I think sometimes people get to the draft and they think that's the finish point. And what we're trying to reiterate to these kids is just, it's a starting point here to where you eventually get to the National Hockey League. And then to see a player like Berkeley Catton or a kid like Ben McDonald, who's been here a couple of years, their development, that's what we look forward to seeing where Blake could be in a year or two.
Saturday, you seemed a little unimpressed with this free agent market in particular, the way that it shook out. How did you see it?
Well, look, that's why we were excited certainly to get Ryan and to add depth from our goalie's perspective, but it's also why we did make the moves, especially at the forward position earlier on. It was something that you just looked at the quantity, there certainly was some very good players out there. There just wasn't a lot of depth from that standpoint. And then you saw certainly the excitement around the league in the last couple of days of players re-signing or being traded from that aspect too. So we felt good that we made some moves before, and it just reinforces, I think, the belief of how important it is to develop your own players.
And after 3 trades, a couple free agent signings down, do you feel like you've already done most of your business for this off season, or do you foresee another significant move coming?
You always want to do more business, right? You always want to continue but no, we're happy of what we've done with the roster, right? We've talked about, adding a little bit more size, a little bit more physicality, a little more compete. But I hate to keep bringing it up, but to me, there's competition, and that's what we really want. And I think that's what Lane's realizing, and he's going to really reinforce in training camp, is that. I think Lane talked about it at his press conference, how it's imperative that we're a 4-line team. That's going to be our competitive advantage. We may not have that elite star player at the top end, but we have to find competitive advantage and more down the lineup, whether that's a third or fourth line in the forward position or having a stronger second or third pair D. Those are the things that we have to continue to work on.
Anything else? All right.
All right. Have a great day, guys.